Home. Usually a nice place to live, but there are savages afoot attempting to destroy it, remake it into their images, practicing Jews, Christians, Muslims, theists, and the corrupt atheist sympathizers they've befuddled. The world worsens by hour at their hands. Their blight, disease, sickness. I recently baited a hook called Jesus and the Golden Rule Suck, and as expected I captured the batch of flounderers I was aiming for. Theo Warner, Big Lundy, and their subscribers. Cardinal Corrupt just ran away. Troll One and their subscribers came with comments on the page. Mr. Miss actually made a video response. It so made my day. A more sorry bunch of ignorant assholes you'll never meet. In their inimitable style of insults, name-calling, and hate, they attempted to make points. That is, of course, beyond their recessed genes. A few people honestly interested in inquiry and discussion did show up, so we'll start with them and save the bestest for last. An interested user by the name of NoahPlum99 suggested, from a non-religious perspective, the argument made here supports the Golden Rule. If you torture and kill others, there is certainly a much higher chance you will have that revisited upon yourself. But that's not my argument. The theist wanted to know why Hitchens disagreed with hell's existence. He tried to say throwing people in prison who torture and murder is equivalent to God throwing people that don't believe in hell because they've committed a crime against God. What he doesn't get is that the saying, live by the sword, die by the sword, which is effectively what you said, would be live by the sword because you want to die by the sword, as the Golden Rule would have it. What I said is that for those who want to be tortured, the Golden Rule would be an approximation to, in terms you used if you want to die by the sword, get living by the sword. I actually quite like the Golden Rule. The history of philosophy is enough to tell us that there are no clean lines of delineation or simple maxim that holds for all cases. But as a first approximation for 90% of people, I don't think the Golden Rule is far off, and for my money, the reason it does work so well is because it is really a rewriting of what, in my view, the business of morality is really all about. My context said, agreed. However, it is still problematic due to the intrinsic reference to self as a baseline for determining one's actions upon others. Since it is presumptive that one's are actually appropriate for others without consideration of others at least as typically articulated. I replied to NoPlum99, my statement, live by the sword because you want to die by the sword, although my context ably handled this. I do not believe your characterization of my statement, if you want to die by the sword, get living by the sword, is apt. Because you want to die by the sword is simply how you want to be treated. It is what you want to happen to you. And because that is the fact, you are now under the Golden Rule able to kill as you please any person you happen upon with your sword, no matter the cultural norm setting you find yourself. That is where the brains on the page end. This video is just offensively stupid. It hurt my brain more to hear this ham-fisted, unintentional idiocy and opaque dishonesty than watching racist propaganda cartoons from the 1930s. I'm really glad atheism isn't a religion, because if it was, I would feel ashamed to be a member of a group that includes you. This lackey is, of course, simply restating something Cardinal Virtues said, because he has no mind of his own. You must be butthurt. Butthurt about what? About having nothing of merit to the video to say. You know, like why the video is dishonest or anything. This is as good as they get from here, folks, but I'd advise you to stick around for Big Lundy. Woo, talk about a spastic brained oaf. This is by far the stupidest thing I've seen in years. Abby Normal 1. It would take the stupidest person ever to say that. Then came along Morgan Offers, I guess, and Sodomite, I suppose. These two, Theo Warner, Cardinal Corrupt, and Mr. Miss lackeys were so stupefyingly thick, it made me cringe with their mamas. Morgan Offers simply showed up to cream all over my pages about the inestimable depth of Mr. Mrs. Intelligence. Sodomite just, no words. So incompetent were they that I've decided to save those two for my answering my comments while doodling series. You can check what those are at my Beelzebub channel. A channel I lost my password to, so that's why I'm here. James 1916. Wow, great representation of Big Lundy. You have given up showing you have a better argument, so you just lump him in as a theist. You are doing a great job of replicating Tecton TV with this accurate representation of an intellectual discussion. I never said that about Big Lundy. If you heard it, you've got a great ear. And then came the king of trolls, Theo Warner. I'm just checking to make sure I understand. Are you saying that the Golden Rule is stupid because there are situations in which adhering to the rule, such as a person who enjoys being tortured, leads to moral evil? What evil? Are you saying Jesus gives immoral advice? I was hoping you'd answer my question. Well, if Jesus says to do what you want done to you to others, or whatever you want done to you is alright to do to others. See? So if you want to torture and murder someone, go ahead and do it. So it's not bad. The questioner used this Golden Rule as a defense of hell and genocide, and compared it to throwing people into prison for crimes they commit against others. And that we need to put these people in prison like God does with people and hell, because the people deserved it. So, are you saying that the golden rule is stupid because there are situations in which adhering to the rule, such as the person who enjoys being tortured, leads to moral evil, yes or no? What evil? Are you saying Jesus gives immoral advice, yes or no? Later. A good riddance. That is a perfectly fair response to Troll Warned. He responds in kind to others' questions in the same format, yet he is frustrated when someone treats him in the same manner.
Final note on Theo Warner. You see, Theo Warner informed me that his God's epistemology is too above him to understand, for any human to understand. Informed me that he would torture and murder his own baby at the order of his God for that reason. Informed me that torturing and murdering his own baby at his God's order is evil, but that he would do it because it is moral. In Theo Warner's unplucked eye, morality and evil are synonymous. They are the same thing.
Then there was this fop. It attempted to rebut me in a video reply. Let's peep its video and see how intelligent it is and his subscribers are.
Hey there, everybody. This is Big Lundy here. I just came across one of the funniest things on YouTube. And by funniest, I mean most unintentionally funny. Because I'm not going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt that he's actually being serious, that he's not in fact being serious with this video. Some of you might moan and groan, but this is Beelzebub. And before you start going, oh my God, you have got to be kidding me. I understand. This is going to be the last video that I make to Beelzebub ever, and you'll see why. I think he has mental issues. I really do. Because this is really weird. Now, the video is entitled Jesus and the Golden Rule Suck, with an exclamation point. And I watched only about a minute of it.
Yeah, that was your problem, dunce.
I distinctly remember that Hitchens, when responding to the Golden Rule, would say that the Golden Rule is nothing new. It's nothing unique. It's nothing to suggest that Christianity is some sort of beacon of morality. He usually goes on a rant about how we had to have been moral creatures for thousands of years prior to Christianity, and to insinuate that we needed the morality of the Bible to become good people is just absolutely insane.
He, parroting Hitchens, states that Jesus did not come up with the Golden Rule, that Jesus stole it, that the Golden Rule as voiced by Jesus is nothing new. Well, I never said Jesus came up with it. Jesus stealing it is the issue, f***tard. This Jesus was said to have uttered those words. That, of course, means this God agrees with it. You know, Jesus being God and all, the smartest thing in existence. Omniscience it's called. Should have known the inherent stupidity of the things it wants to steal from other gods, religions, and or people. Unfortunately, apparently that is too much to ask. For if it was so omniscient, it would have recognized something a little old human such as me was able to. The inhuman abuse allowed inherent in the rule. Of course, no one expects you to detect that, Mr. Mist. Do you know what that little bit of fluff this God stole denotes? Hell no, you don't. That this God is not omniscient, and therefore does not exist, pea-brain.
And my vocabulary is fairly robust.
Maybe when you read the dictionary from cover to back, you should have read the definitions along with the words.
He will now go on to throw commentary at my video as he watches it.
You say that God butchering entire races, God murdering infants and sending them to hell and torturing them for all eternity is bad.
You know Jesus' golden rule. Do unto others as you would have it done unto you. I've heard of it. So what if there's a person out there that wants to be tortured and murdered? What would you do with them if they were murdering and torturing people? Yes.
What? So the Golden Rule is stupid. Oh my God. So the argument that he's putting forward by these stereotypical, completely non-mainstream Christian arguments that he's using Theo Warner, myself, and Rob as mouthpieces for is that the Golden Rule is great because, you know, is great in the context of hell, because what if somebody wanted to be tortured forever and they started murdering and torturing people? What would you do with them? Of course you. Who wants to do that?
You gotta love Mr. Miss. He's like a lost, helpless child you see walking around, and you are compelled by your ethical leanings to aid. I'll aid you, boy. That was the question the theist asked Hitchens. Sinking in yet? Nah, didn't think so. What context are you speaking in? That I agree with the golden rule or that I disagree with it? Whichever you like, pal. That's right, clown. Either one. What would you do with him? First, I disagree with it, which I do. If that person was going around torturing and murdering people, I'd throw his ass in prison. Ha! Just like God does with hell. They broke his law and are being punished. You're no better than the Christians you talk about. Second, I agree with it and believe in it. Well, then I do nothing to them. What? You call that moral? You're an animal.
So, I can already predict the argument that he's going to be making here. If I should disagree, if I should agree with the golden rule, and somebody is murdering and torturing people, I shouldn't do anything to them because I wouldn't want anything to be done to me.
Huh?
That's what I'm predicting the argument going. That's the direction that I predict to go. I haven't watched this video past the first minute so far, so this is the first time you guys are watching me watch this video. So let's see if he is as predictable as I think he is. Oh, okay. So he's using the argument that if you accept the golden rule, then you should also want to be tortured forever.
Huh?
The problem with this logic is that if you don't do anything to the person who's murdering and torturing, and you don't murder and torture them, apparently, and we'll just assume for the moment that murdering and torturing is exactly what the golden rule espouses, which it isn't. Let's just presume for a moment that that's the premise that we're working from. And it's okay for him to murder and torture a bunch of other people, then it would then be okay for us to murder and torture him. That's how logic works, Billsy.
You sick, depraved trash.
No, that's not what the golden rule means. Then what does it mean? It means that if a person wants evil done to them.
What? The golden rule means that each person wants evil done to them. I don't even know where he would. I have no words.
Yeah, you can always count on Mr. Miss. This is getting painful. Maybe I should let Freshman League get her off the hook. Nah.
That's the end of the video. I gotta say, Billsy, you are a master at debating people who you created yourself to argue against. Absolutely. Oh my God. Billsy, you are so ill-educated on absolutely everything that you say. And you are filled with such cognitive dissonance, and I don't even know how to address you anymore.
We've all suffered enough at the hands of this troll. I'll go ahead and let him in on the secret. Ever heard the expression, live by the sword, die by the sword? According to the golden rule, Mr. Miss Big Lundy, that would be live by the sword if you want to die by the sword. Get it? Of course you don't. I'll let a very smart person that went to your page to explain my video to you and your subscribers. The golden rule cannot stand alone. It requires a moral preface with those morals laid out. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you in regards to a basic biological drive, namely sex, procreation. Wanting someone to have sex with you would allow you to have sex with them regardless of their wishes. You want them to have sex with you as you would have them do unto you. Therefore have sex with them, do unto others. It cannot stand alone. But actually, no, that's not really true, as you are not likely to want some guy, if you are a male, to come along and force himself on you. If that guy had the same thoughts and applied the golden rule as stated, he can justify it. You might not like it. That's why he needs more than what is stated. Adding, but only if they agree, is more than the golden rule. I suppose that's why the paganist version is better. As long as you don't harm no one, and do whatever you want. But of course this was too far above Mr. Miss and his subscribers' heads, because his stupid-ass video is still up. They all simply, as usual, missed it, which is par for the course for them. They couldn't understand a single word of it. Mr. Miss and they decided to concentrate on the only thing they know and understand. The comments I directed toward them in their language. You know, insults. I treat every person I meet in the exact same manner that person treats me. When I went to Mr. Miss's page and did just that to him and his goons, to a person, they all resorted to, "We expected that from you." Yeah. What a bunch of ignorant trash. In his video, he called me stupid a total of 9 times and proclaimed that I have mental issues. I will admit, I intentionally made my Jesus and the Golden Rule Suck video hard for certain smart people to understand. So Mr. Miss, you and your subs don't have to feel too bad. You lived up to expectations, and no one believes anyone should be disparaged for living their potential. I remember you saying in one of your videos, Mr. Miss, that you couldn't believe that people get paid millions of dollars doing what you think you are doing. If that is your dream, give it up. You dream in vain. Do something more in your vein. No, not a dog walker. While you're not looking, someone is likely to exchange that person's dog for something else. You'd of course bring it back to them none the wiser. You can advertise your services as an official pooper scooper. Here's some practice for you. No, Mr. Miss, that's not how you do it. You need something to scoop it up with. Next you need a bag. Now take the scooper. Then you put the poop on the scooper. Good boy. Now take the bag. And now you can eat it. Lastly, show that you're etiquette wise and wipe your mouth. No, not that way. Use the bag. There you go. Good boy, good boy. Run along now, Mr. Miss. All that's left to say now is... That's all, folks.